So transfer, obviously, you said you found out like July that you were going to be on the team.
Yeah.
So then in July, were you living in Ames yet?
Yeah, so right after I got done with school up there, I literally packed up like the tub I had of my stuff, and I literally drove to Ames. We had a place all set up in North Ames, and I like moved in with nothing. Didn't have a bed or anything yet because Bailey had her bed down here already, but we had to move all that stuff in. But yeah, I literally got here, unpacked my stuff, and then I think my parents came down with some of my stuff. So
Okay,
yeah,
nice.
I didn't go home. Like my first summer, I just came right here.
Oh, dang.
Didn't know anybody in Ames. And I think Bailey like left for like an internship. I don't remember if it's India or Europe.
Oh,
but
yeah,
she like
I forgot
left.
about that.
Yeah. And I was here alone, didn't know anybody. Yeah.
So, but when did you start working out with the team then?
When school started, August 24th.
So you just spent like July hanging out in Ames, just
chilling?
chilling?
I worked at the Department of Residency, so I met like some people there. I met Drake Furch and Dalton Furch, the two Furch brothers that were on the team. And Luke Knott. So those like three guys I met working at the Department of Residency, and I was like, yo, what should I expect? And like they put me under their wing, and they kind of helped me out of like the transition because like when I first got there, I didn't know like where to go, what to do, and no idea how college football practice like ran. So
you moved to Ames, got a job, and like randomly met football players through the job? Like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
And I was like, yeah, like I'm walking on, like and like obviously the two Furch brothers were walk-ons, and like I don't know how many people know this, but at like Iowa State, like back in the day, like the walk-on was like it was like a family,
big deal.
Yeah, it was like a big deal. Like we had our own like row in the locker room and stuff like that. Walk-on row.
Walk-on WOPA.
Yeah, WOPA was a thing. It was just like a big family. So they like put me under their wing and like kind of like showed me the ropes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Which is like just like think like, say you got like a job at Arby's. Instead of there, like you wouldn't have met a football player until your first day on like practicing.
I mean, depending on how they paid, I might have been still at Arby's and not.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, if I would have worked at Arby's, which I don't know, I'm not a big people person, so I wouldn't put myself in that situation of like serving food or stuff like that. So I knew like I don't know, I learned a lot of cleaning in the people at Department of Residency. Shout out to the Department of Residency at Iowa State. Great people. They were awesome to work with.
That's crazy. Yeah. So then. Meet them, thankfully. They kind of set your expectations, like what's going to happen. And then fall camp starts, and you're a cornerback.
Fall camp? I was not at fall camp because I started when school started. So,
so like preseason camp, right?
Yeah, so I was like literally the first week, I think it was North Dakota they played that year.
North Dakota State.
Yeah, North Dakota State. I was in.
So your first practice was the week before that?
Yeah, the week of that. So that was my first practice. So like, everyone has to, like, what's going on. I remember like right when we got there, I was like, yo, Furch, I'm like, where do I go? He's like, yeah, you go way down there. And it's like, I don't know how long the field is, but it's pretty long. We warmed up on the far end. So I'm like, sweet, get over there. And I remember like the strength coach was like, like yelling, like, get in this line, da, da, da. And my head was already spinning. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And we went through the whole warm up, like getting yelled at and stuff like that. And then I remember like looking for, like, they're like, all right, whatever, they broke off. And I was like, I have no idea. No one told us like where to go.
You didn't know what position you're playing.
I knew a position. I knew I was like coming as corner, but like, come on.
Weren't you the only white cornerback in the Big 12 for a little bit?
I was probably the only white cornerback in the Power 5.
That's what you would tell me in class. Like, I'm the only Power 5 white corner.
As a joke, I mean, like,
you should have a T-shirt on that. You could have sold those.
Yeah, and then I remember I was like, Rhodes, corner's not for me. I don't like changing direction. I like to run in a straight line. So, come on.
Because Paul Rhodes was a cornerbacks guy, wasn't he?
He was a big defensive guy. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he was corners.
He's a corners coach after he left Iowa State at some point.
Yeah, UCLA, I believe, right?
So.
Yeah. But yeah, I after the season, I was like, yo, I got to switch. Or like during spring ball, or before spring ball started, I was like, I got to switch.
I remember we were walking back from class and we were talking. He's like, yeah, I think I'm done with the corner. He's like, I'm going to be a receiver. I'm like, okay, like Trevor thinks he's going to play receiver in the Big 12. Yeah, whatever.
So if you didn't like mention I wanted to change positions, you would have just stuck at corner the whole time?
So like I guess like when I like first initially walked on, the only thing I wanted to do was like play special teams. So I didn't really care what.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Position I played. I like literally just thought like if I could get on the field and play run down on punt or return punts or return kicks, like my life was made. Like I played at the highest level. Like I'm happy. Yeah.
That was your expectations for you?
That was my expectations. Like coming in was like just get on the field for special teams and like the rest will like take its place. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's a walk on. Like that's definitely your easiest way to see the field is like if you just bust your ass on punt, like you don't have to be the most talented kid coming out of like a 4-star recruit to tackle someone on punt.
Exactly. And like, you know, like I feel like some people like look down on special teams. I love special teams. I think it's the best thing in football because you get dudes that go out there, play one play, and that's the only one play they get.
But it's defense, offense, playing the same team. You
got everybody from all sides of the ball, so I think it's great. But yeah, like I would literally just wanted to play special teams. I was like, if I can run on a kickoff, like it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I was
especially like in a packed. Jack Trice sold out.
Remember, like during practices and stuff like that, they had obviously they do special teams drills, and there's a point where like you can like go return kicks or punts. And I remember telling like Furch, I was like, because he had a good relationship with the special teams coach Shane Burnham at the time, and
Wally Burnham's son, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, you think you give him a word of like, I want to try to return punts and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, man, I'll go up to his office after practice and tell him. So then, boom, he's like, well, tell him to come over, return punts. And I was like, sweet. So I returned punts. Doing it, I did great. Didn't drop one. So I was like, man, maybe I can return punts sometime.
So basically, you took in your own hands, like, I want to do this. And you, like, turned into, like, I looked it up. You're, like, the 4th best punt returner in Iowa State history.
Yeah.
But, like, it was essentially Trevor's, like,
yeah,
I want to do this. I'm just going to ask if I can do it.
Okay. Yeah. So
then you're like, all right, you can do that, Trevor.
Yeah, so literally I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go ask him if I can do this or that. I mean, like, why not? You know, it's an opportunity.
And hey, Coach, can I play quarterback this week?
Yeah, I was like, if I fail, I fail, and I'll just move on, and I'll find something else I can try to. Was
there any positions that you asked for that they just said no?
No, I literally after
every single time they said yes.
After the season, I texted Coach Rhodes, and I was like, you think I could change the receiver for spring ball?
You just texted him?
Yeah, and he was like, I have to meet with the offense staff and ask. I'll get back to you, and I'm like, sweet. He got back to me, and he was like, yeah, you can be a receiver, da-da-da. And I was like, all right, let's go. I was like, never knew how to, like, I feel
you didn't play receiver in high school?
No, I played running back in high school. But I feel like high school football, I guess, like, it was like in Iowa, where I'm from. It was like run from point A to point B as fast as you can because you're the fastest kid on the field.
Right, yeah. Especially small town Iowa.
Yeah, like small town Iowa, they don't.
The team with the fastest kid usually wins.
Exactly, and they don't put no like finesse on your stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, Trevor, just go run there as fast as possible and then try to score.
Yeah, and so then I started playing receiver. And then Grant Rohach, you guys remember him? Yeah, number 3.
Yeah. Played for the Barnstormers for a little bit.
Great human being.
Yeah.
He's like literally the person that like made me learn the playbook. When Coach Rose was there, yeah, he would like pull me in and be like, yo, come to watch film with me. Make me draw the plays up there of all these like different plays we had. And literally that spring ball, he was like my quarterback for the offense.
Because you run with the 2s and 3s probably?
Yeah, 2s or 3s, I can't remember, but like there was like days when we balled out, and I was like, "Oh my god, like maybe I can do this." But like I had no finesse to my routes. I was literally, "Hey, just run here as fast as you can, and break off." But yeah, like shout out to Grant Rohach.
That's awesome because he transferred to Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah, and I think he sat behind the number 3. I can't remember his name. He got picked up by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, because Buffalo's like pretty good. Too.
Yeah.
He played. Was Turner Gill the coach there? Do you know?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
But yeah, like, and I funny thing since we're on here, since we posted, like Grant Rohach, I roomed with him on away games and home games, and I told him, I was like, man, you'll be a great coach. He's like, I don't want to coach.
Really?
Like coaching's not for me. Da da da. And I was like, whatever, dude. I'm like telling you, man, you'll be a successful coach, and he's in coaching now. So.
Where's he at?
Mount Marty, I believe, or something like that. I believe it's in South Dakota.
Okay.
So yeah. So shout out to Grant Rohach for listening.
You gave him his career.
Yeah.
After he taught you how to be a receiver.
Exactly.
You're speaking. Is there anything else you want to say? Like, were you speaking things in existence here? Like,
hey, I want to be an all-pro receiver.
Okay. I don't want to be a cornerback. I want to play punt return.
Okay, right. So I want to talk about after your first year, it sounds like you just like walked on to practice after this team had already like prepared for the season.
Literally, yeah.
Run around trying to find like what line you're supposed to be in. You survived the first year. Did you see but you redshirted, right?
Yeah, redshirted.
Okay, yeah. So like you weren't.
What year? What year was this?
2014.
2014, 2015.
So our sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
Yeah. The North Dakota State.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Carson Wentz, his first start, kicked the crap out of us.
Yeah. Go Colts. So the next year, you text Coach Rhodes, hey, can I be a receiver? So what was it like transitioning to now you're in that receiver room?
Yeah,
because there's some pretty damn good receivers.
Yeah, Quint Bundridge,
Lazard,
Jarvis West, I believe, was still there.
He
just graduated.
Allen's freshman year.
Allen's freshman year was that 2014 year. Yep.
Davari Montgomery, right?
Yep, Davari Montgomery,
Yeah.
Dondre Daly, and Jawan Wesley was in there. I'm trying to think who else was maybe in there. Orion Salters.
It's like you like walk in like this is like a pretty talented position group.
Yeah. But and still in my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna play. Like, I just want to play special teams.
Right.
I just want to return punts and kicks. I just want to make my name on special teams.
Yeah.
So I didn't even. I'm just like, whatever. If I end up playing, I end up playing offense. But if not, whatever.
Okay. So then that year, remind me. So your redshirt sophomore. Did you played special teams that year?
Yeah. So my redshirt sophomore year, we opened up in Northern Iowa, right?
Yeah.
And that's so then about the end of the game, fourth quarter, we're up 28-7 or something like that. He's like, go in there and get a punt return. I'm like, sweet. That thing's punted, and I'm like, I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to catch this because people run down at you, so I let it bounce. And the rule is a punt return, you 2 bounce. If it hops up, you go get it. But if it's more than 2, like,
just let it go.
Yeah, let it go. And I'm like, whatever. It bounced more than twice. I pick it up. I take it right down the sideline. Score my first career touchdown.
I remember that.
Oh my God!
Wait, so you weren't even the starting punt returner at that time?
No, I think Allen started.
Yeah, he basically just caught it.
Wow, that's crazy.
He fair catch it every time, really.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I think he has like the number 1 average. I think punt return at Iowa State.
Alan Lazard does?
Alan Lazard does.
No way.
What?
I believe so.
We'll have to
I
fact
think
check
it's like
on
19 or something like that. So yeah, shout out to Alan Lazard.
Really?
Yep, Lizard King.
He's doing all right.
He is doing all right. Great guy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So then after that return, then did you earn the starting role, or was it just kind of
I think it was like
situational?
back and forth, situational.
Okay.
I mean, obviously I didn't catch it, so that could have been either bad or good. But yeah, it was like flip between me and Alan,
okay.
which was cool, But I mean, I played all the other special teams. Wasn't really good at kick returner. I don't know why. I didn't really.
I remember you on kick return very often.
Yeah, I don't know. Took too long to develop. I just want to run, so punt return was my thing.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'm trying to remember that year. So that was Rhodes' second to last year. The next year was when kind of you got a lot more involved in the offensive scheme, correct?
Yep. So yeah, the crazy thing is, I go through my first fall camp for the 2015 season, and going through fall camp, you can go home for fall camp for lunch. After you eat lunch, you get like an hour or 2 hour block, and you can go home. So I go home because I'm like, whatever. I had a bad practice, and I was like, I just want to go home. Get a text from the receivers coach like, hey, I'd like to meet with you, and I'm like, oh, great. Like, what'd I do wrong at practice? I'm like, whatever. Jeez. And I'm like, well, okay. So I'm like, sweet, I'll meet you at your office. So I go down there. I meet with Coach Mangino, and he's like, hey, how would you like to play running back?
I remember this.
I'm like, awesome. Like, cool. The running back coach at the time was Coach Ianni, Lewis.
Yes.
He's at Northwestern.
Stud.
Great human being.
Yes.
So shout out to Coach.
Yeah, he's the reason Dave Montgomery was here.
So yeah, shout out to him. Great guy. Brings me in his office, and I'm like, oh man, I've never met this guy, and I'm like, okay. Like, he's like, hey, I want to get you on the field. He said, I don't care. He's like, you probably won't run the ball much, but he's like, I'll use you as a receiver on the backfield. I'm like, so you're telling me I'm gonna play offense, huh? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, sweet. So I'm like, the rest, I was like, awesome. So like games I'd go in, and play. But yeah, he was a great coach. Really like made me want to play football. Like really like he like motivated me. Like was great, talking to me, mentoring me through all this and stuff like that. So
is he kind of like what led you to being like even trying to prioritize offense? Because it sounded like up to this point, like special teams was like your thing. Like you were a receiver, but like you wanted to be a really good punt returner, just being on special teams. But like
yeah.
Coach Ianni kind of like instilled this passion, like okay, like I can contribute and like help us on offense.
Yeah,
too.
I feel like he made me feel like I could do something on offense. Like he wasn't like I just kept like messing up at receiver and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I don't know about this. But then like yeah, he was like told me like this is what we're gonna do with you like and stuff like that. And then like his like position meetings with him were awesome. Like really helped me develop as a player and stuff like that. Yeah, and then like I don't know, just what he's done for me as a coach like has really like helped me as a player like to like be comfortable playing football and like really taking the time to study the offense and stuff like that.
So then during that year, were you kind of splitting time between receiver room and running back room, or were you just kind of
directly receiver room? I would like come out of the backfield, line up as receiver. I'd never,
Okay.
or like start there and I come back to the.
So you're still a receiver. They're just lining you up.
Yeah, and they would like make just certain stuff for me. I wouldn't play like obviously I wasn't the number one back.
Okay,
I just come in when they had
that was
plays for me.
Mike Warren's freshman year.
Mike Warren's,
yeah, he was good too.
Breakout year.
He had a really good year that year.
Really, really good.
Okay, so
that year, I mean, there's a lot of things happened that year, and then you transitioned to Campbell the next year, right?
Oh yeah, 2016 was Coach Campbell's first year.
Yeah.
your junior year.
So
junior year,
my
yep.
question is, did you when Paul Road got let go?
So hold on, I want to before we talk about him getting let it go, let's talk about the game that kind of led to that.
The K-State game.
The K-State game.
That's tough game.
So like you being on the sidelines, like the game was pretty well in our control. Like what was like just from you standing like watching their first person, like what was going through your head like when that went down?
The first half, we were partying on the sideline. It was
Yeah.
great. Everything was going our way. Then the second half came around and they just started chipping away at it. And the fumble at the end, they got it, and it was just like
Wasn't it 2 fumbles?
2 fumbles in the last 2 minutes.
So yeah, and I was like, what the hell is happening? It's like your world just stops and you're like
You're just like standing there, just like
you're like slapping yourself. Hey, wake up, wake up. You know what I mean?
What was the locker room like?
Just
Was it mad or sad?
pretty
Just
quiet.
Just
It was
sad?
really weird. And then
Because it was the last game of the year, right?
no, we went to West Virginia after that.
because the week between K-State and West Virginia is when they announced that Rhodes is going to be fired.
Oh
at the end of
yeah,
the year,
yeah.
And he coached the last game,
and you guys won.
and we lost at West Virginia.
You did?
Yeah. I believe
Overtime
so.
though, right?
No.
No, that was that. You're thinking about a different year.
You're thinking of the biggest comeback.
Yeah.
And Grant
Oh,
Ross,
yeah.
Me and, funny about that game is me and Mike were flipping between the Auburn game where they took the
Kick
kickback.
six.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The what's it?
It was a missed field goal for they were
Touchdown.
going for a touchdown.
So
Yeah.
Chris Davis was on the team at Birmingham.
No way.
Yeah, I literally
What?
I saw him. I was like, "Yo," I'm like, "You look familiar." He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You play for Auburn?" He's like, "Yeah."
That's
Chris
crazy.
Davis? He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Kick six guy?" He's like, "Yeah."
No
I was like,
way.
"Dude, you're a legend."
What?
Yeah, it was wild. Great human being, great guy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's a weird connection there. That's hilarious.
For a
crazy.
senior, that's like one of the most famous plays in college football history.
It is. It is.
Yeah, that was so funny because Michael was like, "We got to watch the Iowa State game." I'm like, just hold on one more, and then that happened.
It was crazy. What a crazy weekend of college football.
That was crazy. Wow, that's a wild story.
Wild. It was crazy.
That was a pretty good night for football
Yeah,
watching.
no kidding.
No doubt.
Okay, so obviously, really bummed up after the K-State game. Rhodes gets fired. I'm sure like a lot of emotions as far as a team because I feel like Coach Rhodes. I don't think I've ever heard a player speak ill of him. Like he's a great guy. Was a great coach for Iowa State.
He loved Iowa State.
Like-
Loved Iowa State.
Yeah.
Grew up around this area. Like was
I
awesome.
got nothing bad to say about Coach Rhodes. I mean, he obviously gave me a scholarship
Right.
when I was here, and he
He said yes to you being receiver.
Yeah, like
he could
he,
just
like,
said
done
no.
everything for me.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, this guy at the University of Pitt, he's like, I don't know his official title, but Chris LaSalle, he's been at the University of Pitt forever, and Coach Rhodes is at Pitt too. And like on my interview up there, like I sat down with him and he asked me about Coach Rhodes, and he was like, I'm really good friends with Coach Rhodes, and he put a like good word in for you. So I'm like,
Really?
this is crazy. So I
awesome.
shout out, texted Coach Rhodes back. I said, hey man, I appreciate everything you've done for me.
That's awesome.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so
Yeah, like Coach Rhodes. Like I feel like when you kind of look through the history of Iowa State football, like for the time, like Chiswick came here for like 2 years, did nothing.
yeah.
Coach Rhodes was the perfect coach for Iowa State at the time. Like was fiery, was always yelling. Like he was
From Iowa, right? I
from
believe,
like he
Des
grew up like
Moines,
around
yeah,
names. I think.
Ankeny
Yeah,
area.
Ankeny, yeah. He won the same amount of Chiswick won in his first year.
Yeah, so
at Iowa
like
State.
he had like up to that point a really successful career. Like just that last year, a lot of things didn't go his way, and I don't think anyone was like pissed off at Coach Rhodes, but like it was just like the time to kind of go
yeah.
It
different.
was a sad ordeal.
It
That
was
it just
sad.
didn't work out.
Yeah, it
But
was
then
a bad deal.
you kind of look into what's happening now. Like
Yeah, but like, okay, that's my question. In between Rhodes getting fired, or Rhodes was fired and Campbell, did you think of like I might go somewhere else?
No, not at
No,
all.
no,
No,
not-
I was
not-
like, I bleed Cardinal and gold, so I was like, I'm gonna stay here.
Okay,
And so the running back coach, Coach Ianni,
yeah,
was at Toledo with Campbell,
really?
and he told me like, hey, Coach Campbell's a great dude. Da da da.
Awesome.
So he already gave me like insight after all the season was done of like how this guy is and stuff like that, and like told me like you're gonna really like this guy.
So he was. I didn't know that. So and he came under Rhodes. Left
Toledo.
Under
He came to Iowa State.
Okay.
Yep.
And he coached Kareem Hunt at Toledo, correct?
Yep. So
Okay.
he's got a good track record.
I was gonna say he's done okay. It's okay. So I know Thomas was like he was gonna ask you like if you thought about transfer. I'm like,
Because
there's
like
no way in hell
nowadays,
Trevor ever thought about
nowadays, I don't know.
No, I get like nowadays, people just hop right in that transfer portal.
just
It's
like,
like
yeah.
a free agent system.
Yeah,
Now you got that free year of like you don't have
Yeah.
to sit out. So, I mean, no, I never thought about transferring.
Okay.
I was gonna,
different time though. Like
Yeah.
transferring was a lot bigger deal back
and I was
then.
like, I feel like no one wanted me because I mean I'm still walking. Like, I was gonna be able to like to.
But like when I thought of that question, I was like, you were what you were, like your peak,
yeah,
but you weren't there yet, like as a
No.
receiver. And then Campbell got here, and then when did the flip switch when you like got on the offense and like wow,
So yeah, so I know a guy named Taylor Mauser. You guys know him?
Or
the
name.
tight ends coach?
Tight ends coach
Yeah,
here, right?
he favors some of my tweets. So
Yep. So he
Shout out Coach Mauser.
yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to Coach Mauser. I swear to God, like this guy, Mouse, hands down, was the dude that like literally helped me day in and day out. I remember when they all came, you don't know who they're going to be like. You didn't know who they were. All I knew was, hey, Coach Ianni, I'm comfortable with him and stuff like that. So he told me, hey, they're good people. They're coming in. So I'm like, all right, I trust you. So they all come in, and then like I was like, what can I do to like learn the offense fast? Because I don't got Grant Rohach here now.
Hey, your tutor.
Yeah. So then, so Mouse was a GA at the time. He was a receiver GA. So I was like, hey, Mouse. I was like, you care if I come up here like during my classes and like we sit down, we like learn the playbook. I was like, I don't need to watch film right now. I just want to know like how to play all the receiver spots. He's like, yeah, man, come up. So after that, I just hit him up, or like they had like an open door policy. If they're all in a staff meeting, you can knock on the door and like, yeah, come in, and they'd be like, hey, can I see Mouse? I want to learn the playbook or whatever. I want to watch film. All right, yeah, they could dip out of a meeting. It's like the open door policy. So I'm like, sweet. So I would do that. I'd get Mouse. Mouse would come over. I'd draw him up on the board, and we'd go over the plays. And then ever since that day, like me and him have like a great relationship. Like he helped me like first learn the playbook, watch film, how to watch film, how to break down, like see the defense and stuff like that. And then he's the guy that helped me finesse my routes. Like literally put a little spice on my routes. Like instead of running as fast as I can to 10 yards and cutting it in, he taught me like all this like basic stuff, but like got into more in depth when I was like got the basic stuff down. But like that dude right there, like shaped my like receiver career. Like he is literally one like that has helped me a ton. So shout out to Coach Mouse. He's my guy. And I know I get like kind of pissy on the sidelines or like mad and stuff like that. So shout out to Panic Pete. I don't know if you guys know who Panic Pete is, but Mouse does. So it's a little squeeze toy on the sideline.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, he's
Like-
my day one guy.
So during the games, like when you're playing, you got pissed
Yeah.
off.
So there's a picture I think on Instagram. Let's see if I can pull it up quick. After we beat TCU, he's like holding it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, Panic Pete. So when Mouse got the tight ends job, that's the first thing I bought him for his office. Yeah, right there, little Panic Pete.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
You can find him on Amazon. So if anyone out there wants a Panic Pete, Amazon is your place to shop.
I thought Panic Pete was like an actual person.
Nope.
Like, you just
Yeah.
like go squeeze.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I'm like, this is a guy on staff that no one talk about.
Yeah, just like
Panic Pete.
the secret guy to calm people down. That's
No, but but Mouse is my guy. Mouse helped me out a ton.
because like the start of the Campbell era, like you were started to be really integral in what the offense did.
Yeah, and I mean all those coaches that came with Coach Campbell, like were awesome. You know, the open door policy thing I talked about already, but like you knew they were human. You didn't think they were just like coaches. So like you could actually have like a conversation of like stuff outside of football. So like obviously I got really comfortable with them. I trusted them, and trust goes a long way, and stuff like that. So I knew I was like, this is a great place to be, and I knew something crazy was going to happen before it even happened. And then we went 3-9, and I was like, all right, like
Yeah. So
we're gonna just work our asses off this off season.
But there were glimpses of like Like there's something here.
like the Baylor game, like like our hearts were like ripped out because we should have won that game. But
yeah, that was a great crazy game. Like you guys played really well, and then
but you could tell like the turn
pieces were there
was about to happen.
Yeah.
because David had a couple great plays. Hakeem was Hakeem.
It was a freshman. So was Akeem.
Yeah,
Because David was starting to take the job over Mike Warren.
Yeah.
That was like the transition there. So like going back to the UNI game, Campbell's first game, like me as a fan, I was like, I've seen Iowa State lose. I've only saw Iowa State. I went to like 30 Iowa State games growing up and only saw them win like 5 times. So I was on a brink of just like, I can't do this anymore. And then I brought my friend who's never been to Iowa State game, and you guys lose to UNI. I'm just like, that's like the 3rd or 4th time I saw Iowa State lose UNI in person. I'm like, oh man. And then I didn't go to a game the rest of the year. And then I moved to Arizona and then missed out on one of the best years
But
ever.
before the Arizona, like before the next year, the Texas Tech game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 66-10.
That was crazy.
Crazy. The crazy thing is, I tell people in this game. So I ran down on kickoff, and I remember I run by a kid, and I like said something to him, and he looked at me. He said, "Bro," he's like, "I don't even want to be here right now." I said,
Well,
"Oh
the
my
Texas Tech kids?
Yeah,
Because it was
he's like,
cold,
Because
right?
it was cold. Yeah, he was like, I said something to him, and he like turned to me. He's like, "Bro," he's like, "I don't even want to be here right now." I said, I looked at him weird. I like came to the sideline. I was like, "We're gonna win this game. Like these kids don't want to play this." And then Mahomes got.
I was just saying,
so
like their quarterback was Patrick
Mahomes.
Mahomes. He's
Until the Super Bowl, that was the first time they hadn't lost by double digits
since that
since
game.
that game.
I know. I knew they were giving us a shout out.
Yeah,
On
sick.
there, so it was nice.
Wasn't Kiki QT there too? The receiver, the really short slot receiver for Texas Tech.
I don't know if he was there. Like Jakeem
Grant.
Yeah.
He was fast as hell too.
He was fast. Yeah, he was quick and everything. I don't know if he was there though for that season.
I get those two mixed up.
Me too, but yeah, we put a whooping on him.
So like during that year, did you guys like know you guys had dudes that just weren't gel? They were there, but they just didn't gel yet, like David and Akeem.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that like after that season, so 2016, we're like 3-9, but you could feel like something was in the air. You're like, all right, like what do we got to do? So then we just like I give a lot of credit to like David Montgomery and like Brian Peavy. Like I feel like those two like really put like, hey, if we want to be good, we got to work really hard and like put in all this extra work. And
So
like,
they kind of led the charge in that sense.
those two guys were like the dudes that were like at the Berg late at night, bringing people along. And then like you had Kemp that would like literally text everybody, like on the offense and be like, hey, we're watching film Saturday at like 10 a.m.
So it was before
Kyle did
before he
as a
played.
third string quarterback.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Kyle
That's
Kemp.
crazy.
He like reminded me like Rohach a little bit. Like he like made you go
Yeah.
watch film and stuff like that. And like the best thing about it is like you can get a quarterback's perspective. He knows everything on the offense. He
Right.
sees everything. So like if you don't,
So he was like coaching even before.
yeah, he was like born to coach. So
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
Which is like wild. Like watch after that year unfolds. Like I don't think anyone knows that like Kyle was also like leading the charge behind the scenes because like no one had heard of Kyle Kemp before that Oklahoma game.
And like that's the crazy thing too is like I remember like when like Rohach was here, like we would come up on like the weekends and like we go to the practice field and we'd like run routes, and it was like me and Lemming and Rohach, and then like I remember like Kemp started doing that, and I was like sweet. So like I feel like he just knew like if I just keep like chopping wood, carrying water, like it's like an opportunity would come around, and like I can't blow it type thing. I feel like.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack for that your senior year.
Yeah,
A lot happened.
Crazy season.
So
So-
who was the first game? It was UNI? We beat the crap at UNI that year, first game. Right?
Yep, I believe so.
That was,
Won by like a couple touchdowns.
yeah,
And then
the Iowa
the
game.
the crazy Iowa game.
Yeah,
That game was
3 overtime.
Yeah.
Or how many
Akram
overtimes,
Wadley
something
had
like
that one
crazy run.
freaking the screen they took like 60
You
yards.
guys wearing the hideous gray jerseys.
It was a nice change though. So
Yeah,
it was
just-
different, but yeah,
'Cause,
compared to what we got now, I mean,
Because like there was a contract we had that, so Campbell had to like
we
try.
couldn't change the jerseys
Yeah.
until the year after.
Yeah,
yeah. So I guess we just
It
found
made the best of it.
yeah.
those jerseys on Amazon.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so then after the Iowa game, it was Akron. We went to
Yep.
Akron,
Yep.
whooped them. Then the Texas game on Thursday.
Yes. Yep.
So what was the vibe going into the Texas game? We're just like we're right there. Was it?
Because
Was
Texas wasn't like
outlandishly
a national
good.
power that you're like,
No.
we could like talent-wise, like we weren't that far behind, I felt.
No,
Yeah.
I feel like looking back on it, we were better than them offensively. Like
Talent-wise.
talent-wise, we were.
I don't know honestly what happened. I mean, I know it was a weekday game. It was like a Thursday night.
Thursday,
game.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys had the Bugle logo.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, those might have been more hideous than the gray jerseys, but
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's any question about that.
I mean, you could go back to like when we wore the all yellows at home when we played Toledo when Campbell was the coach at Toledo. I mean,
That
McDonald's,
really sold Campbell on come to Iowa State, huh?
McDonald's gave us a shout out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've had some hideous moments
Yeah.
with our uniform, but I don't know honestly what went wrong.
It was just a weird vibe the whole game.
It was a weird vibe. Like I feel like we were in it, but we were always one step behind Texas, and that was like what sucked, you know. And then like you beat Akron. It just felt like you're like going down the same road and of like I just want to make a bowl game, you
Right,
know?
exactly.
But I knew like Campbell's like vision wasn't just like, hey, like 6-6 isn't like great. That's
Yeah.
average, and we're not average, you know.
Right.
How much did it have to do with like the quarterback that was playing back then till Kemp's came?
I don't know.
Was it the vibe of the offense or was it just
I think it was just the whole thing leading up to Texas game, and like I mean I don't know what all happened. I mean Jacob Park is a good guy.
yeah?
I mean I got along with him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what all happened on that, and we ended up losing that game.
Because I mean, like you go back and watch the game, like we're never, like the score, like is we're like never getting killed. Like, it's just, like we just like we need a drive to like
Yeah.
get us going
get
because the
momentum.
defense played so well. Like I mean, I feel so bad for Jaquan. Like Jaquan
Yeah.
Did he
sack
get
for 3 and out, and he gets penalty because he did the somersault.
did he get
Somersault.
benched?
And
then
Did he
they
get
went-
benched that game?
He got his, he
I
got
don't know.
screamed
But
at.
did he get benched?
I don't think he got benched.
Yeah.
No, but he got yelled at on the sidelines.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
they showed on TV, but
Yeah.
like just like I don't know if that had anything to do with like how that game went, but like to start going 3 and out, get a sack, penalty, they score, and then the rest of the game, like the offense just like David could never find room, like we just never got anything going, and then
We just never got momentum rolling on that.
but then so like that happens on Thursday, so now we have 10 days leading up
Yeah.
to at Oklahoma, so like you're looking at like so we beat UNI, should have beat Iowa, close loss, kill Akron, close game with Texas, like. We're 2-2, going to at Oklahoma, like
Number 3 in this country.
number 3 in the country. They got the Heisman
Baker
Trophy
Mayfield.
world, like
33-point underdogs. You guys were.
They had who's the receiver at the Cowboys?
C.D.
CeeDee
Lamb
Lamb.
and Marquise Brown,
Yeah.
and Mark Andrews.
Yeah, so
They had some dudes,
had
but like,
some dudes.
so like,
Like 4.
tell me
NFL
what it was
starters.
like after the Texas game, leading up to the Oklahoma game. Like what?
I don't know why, but I mean, so we practice outside, and usually like when it rains, we don't practice outside. We come to the indoor. But for some reason that week, it started raining, and we're like, let's just keep practicing outside. And I don't know why, but it was like one of my greatest practices ever at Iowa State. Like I felt great. I mean, me and Mouse had like a routine. Again, shout out to Mouse. But we had like a routine like the whole week of like doing something every week. If it was catching balls, watching film, or watching NFL film. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try some stuff at practice. So I just tried some stuff at practice, like what I saw like NFL guys do. And had a great week. And I was like, man, I told Mouse, I was like, man, something feels funny about this week. You know, like,
Really?
yeah. And I was like, like, I was like, I don't know. I don't want to get into this like weird, like, I feel great. This just feels weird stuff. And then like, we went down there and it was just like the whole atmosphere of the team was like great vibe. It's like we had nothing to lose, but like we had like,
Which is crazy because like, if this was any Iowa State team in previous years, you're 2-2 going into a number 3 ranked at Oklahoma.
after
I feel like the
and a
vibe would
qu-
have been like,
and a quarterback
let's just
change.
try not to get our asses kicked. You know what I mean?
But I think like a lot of that stuff, like a lot of I guess like our confidence as players that year was like from the coaches. Like I don't want to say the coaches gave us confidence, but like the coaches like coach loose, and like I feel like we play loose. Like they never like really got on you unless you did something like stupid. You know what I mean? They know they're human. They know we're human, and like I feel like that family bond of like open door, like getting to know each other, like you trusted every single coach there, and like they trusted you. So like there was like no like playing uptight.
I see. So like, you think the belief, like walking to Norman, Oklahoma, like we belong, like that came from the coaches, you think?
Yeah, definitely. Especially, you guys have heard Coach Campbell talk to like his speeches. Like that wall would have a hole in it if he came in this door right now and gave me a speech. Like I'm like, well, this wall is gonna be destroyed because I'm gonna run through it. And I still get like that as a coach. Like I hear him talking, I'm like, man,
let's go.
Like I'm like, how can I be a better person today?
Right.
So, like just having him talk, and then like our offense coordinator, Coach Manning, hearing him talk, because I was on the offense side of the ball, and you're just you're like, you guys are right. Like Oklahoma, like we can play with these guys, and then and I feel like they just took chances on us, and
that's crazy. So just right before we break down the game, so like we don't have to dive into obviously like the whole Jacob Park thing. Yeah. It's been kind of teased out, but just like from a practice sense, like was he at practice all week?
Yeah, he was at practice.
When did you guys know that he wasn't going to be playing?
When we left on the plane. I mean, he wasn't on it, so we knew that Kemp was going to be our guy.
So that decision was made.
Like, so was Kemp running with the ones all week? Yeah. But then wasn't like what I remember was Lanning finally came back on offense and started running plays. But was that week they started doing that, or was that before?
Like Texas Tech game, we gave him like the ball and stuff like that, and then like obviously we groomed him into like a linebacker. Right. We're like, let's just keep him in our back pocket.
Okay, but so there was packages for Joel.
Like he practiced before that game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like I feel like there was always like hey, we got
back
this
our mind.
Secret interesting. That's interesting. So we played 4 games, but we had the Joel Lanning package. We just hadn't used it yet.
Awesome.
That's sweet.
That's sick.
Okay, so we've all said this. Like you guys are feeling good. Walk in, Oklahoma's got some dudes.
33-point underdogs or whatever.
Yeah. Right. But it doesn't sound like you guys were like, you guys didn't really feel like you were underdogs.
No, I mean, but we're still underdogs, like obviously we weren't ranked at the time, and we were going to number 3 country. So, we had the underdog mentality.
Which is all Americans everywhere. Yeah, now NFL stars.
We hadn't won there in like 35 years or whatever.
Yeah. But like, let's see, even seeing that, like you guys are warming up, you're feeling good. The game starts. We're down 21-3.
Yeah.
In like 10 minutes, which is crazy. So like, I guess like from that point on, like what did you guys just like, you're like, you know what, it's whatever. Like we're just going to have faith in our game plan and we're just going to keep rolling, or was there something that changed on the sideline? Like,
so like the crazy thing, this might sound kind of weird and off topic, but the crazy thing is like Coach Campbell gives us a book every fall camp.
Okay.
And the book for my senior year was Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Okay.
By Joshua Metcalf.
Okay.
One of my favorite books. It's an easy read. But they talk about like this guy. He's like, I think he wants to be an archer.
Okay.
And he's like shooting, and the dude's like, hey man, like you can't do that. You like keep chopping wood and carrying water. So you gotta keep doing the basic things and the little things, and then like someday you'll be a great archer. So I feel like that whole fall camp, we read that book. Every senior talks about a chapter and how it can pertain to like the football team and like our lives. And like that game, it was like I feel like a chop wood, carry water type of moment. Like guys on the side of the road say, hey, chop wood, carry water, So like, hey, keep doing the little things. Don't look at the scoreboard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't worry about the scoreboard right now. And so, we just kept chipping away. We kept doing like the little things right, chopping wood, carrying water, and the outcome's the outcome. So and like that whole season was kind of like based around that book.
Okay.
So, that's why I felt anyway. It was like based around that book because it was like, hey, do the little things right.
So even like when you're down 21-3, you're like, you know what, we're just gonna keep doing little things.
Like a next play mentality.
Yeah, I know that's like I think South Dakota State has on the back of it, like next play. Like it was kind of like that thing. Like, hey, don't get too caught up like on the hype or like what you did wrong. Like think about the next thing.
Like that's like the difference between that team and different Iowa State teams. Like we would have just reined it in.
So you would have laid down, and then we would have been down 48-3.
And plus the talent gap back then.
Yeah. Okay, but so then. You're chop wood, carrying water, but what was the point where you felt like the momentum like shifts back to our favor
during that game?
Yeah.
I want to say like probably like the Marchie Murdoch touchdown, and then to my touchdown, and then after that,
dude. So okay,
you're kind of biased there. Yeah.
So the Marchie touchdown was awesome. Yeah, it was like a bubble screen that went like
Deshaunte had a sick block.
Deshaunte had that sweet cut block. I'm like, hey man, that's awesome.
So then I'm watching like, okay, like we're hanging around like we could win this thing, and then your touchdown. Okay, just as an Iowa State fan that like has like done that in the backyard as a kid. Like,
just put us in your shoes.
And turn the corner at Oklahoma, and you see no one.
Yeah, so like obviously I knew like the way the defense is playing. I'm like, he's gonna throw it to me, and then I had Allen out there blocking, and I'm
Who's
like,
incredible block.
he's an incredible guy, like receiver that can block and score touchdowns. And I knew like I don't have to look out there because I knew Allen's going to take care of business out there. He can take 1, 2 guys, you know what I mean? So I put my step in and I look for the ball, and I like knew Allen had the block, and I knew if I get around him and no one's there, like I'm gone. Like, and then no one was there, so I was like, see ya. But then Allen if you watch that play closely, he got blown up. I swear he took like 3.
Yeah, they took a cheap shot at Allen.
Yeah, he took like 3.
Instead of going after you, we'll just kind of speaks on the culture of Oklahoma kind of cockiness. Blows up Allen, except for going after you, and then you just flew by him.
Yeah, but I mean, he took 3 guys. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say it worked out. But yeah, so like, what do you remember from that? Like,
I remember before the game, I'm like, if I score in this end zone, I want to point at our home crowd, which is in the corner where you see me pointing.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I score in this end zone, if I even score this game, I want to score in this end zone. I want to point at our home crowd. And so I score, and I'm pointing, and I remember the ref was like, hey, I'll throw a flag next time, because he thought I was pointing at the Oklahoma
taunting?
fan. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I would have punted
You're like-
the ball in the stands.
those are my fans.
I know. He was thinking I was pointing at the Oklahoma fans, but I was actually pointing at our fans.
Did you say anything to him?
No, I just kept ran right by him, and I celebrated. I think Marchie ran down there, and then a couple offensive linemen.
Gosh.
Dang.
That would have been so sick.
After that happened, I was embarrassingly screaming like a little girl. It is crazy.
It was awesome.
I was checking people out in the Fry's grocery
He
store.
didn't even get to watch the game. He was working.
Yeah, because like after my mom, I was working, and my mom texted me like, "We won." I'm like, "No, we didn't. There's no way, Mom." And then I went back, saw we won, then I DM'd you. It's like I was working, but congrats on the best win of my lifetime.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch.
That was awesome. That was an awesome time. The locker room after the game was crazy.
So
David had some great dance moves. He was getting after it. We picked Kemp up.
so
What was the party like after we got Ames?
So that was the craziest thing, because you never experienced something. But I remember we
It was
rolled
11.
up
It was 11 a.m. game, so he came back. He got back in the Ames probably a good time.
Saturday
right?
night.
Yeah. Saturday night. We rolled up to the stadium. Fans were out there.
Really?
Crazy. Yeah.
that's awesome.
There's a old elderly guy, Cyclone Jerry, and he was like the first guy he takes the buses and stuff like that, like to the hotel. Like he'll like lead the pack in his van. But yeah, he was there, so that was cool.
That's awesome.
Seeing all the fans there, and I remember like after that it was like me, Kemp, Ray Lima, and one more person. I can't remember who it was, but we went to B-Dubs, and like no one knew like who like I was, but everyone knew who Kyle Kemp was. And they're like, "Oh, Kyle Kemp! Like, yeah, he's so awesome." I'm like, man, I'm just glad to be here with the hype with Kyle Kemp.
You had like a 75-yard touchdown that
I was
game.
gonna say, like,
Come on.
That's crazy. But it's also like in Kyle's like perspective, like
He was a
he
famous.
was a behind the scenes guy, integral part of the team, but no one knew who Kyle Kemp was.
No.
And then he just led the biggest road win in Iowa State history.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. But like I feel like as a team, like we had like no doubt like when his time was to come, like he was gonna do something, because like for one, he's super smart, and two, like he like did everything right up to that.
Yeah.
So he chopped wood and carried water.
Yeah, that's crazy. So backtracking, Allen's touchdown.
Insane. His celebration was like some soccer celebration.
Yeah. He like did a crawl.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing. Oh,
Insane. I mean, he's got to be like one of the best players to ever walk through here.
Oh,
gosh. Thank
No
God.
doubt.
Thank God his dad went to Iowa State. I'll just say that.
I know.
and his brother.
Yeah.
and his
thank,
brother.
Thank
Yep.
God.
Anthony's at Auburn
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
What?
yeah, he's a strength coach down at Auburn.
No way.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So shout out to Ant too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
man.
It's gonna be crazy looking back at like the Campbell players and just seeing like the influence he has across the country in college football.
No
Because like I
doubt.
feel like just the way he carries himself just breeds football coaches.
He does, and it's just the way he is. I mean, I remember like when I after the draft happened, he was like the first coach to call me, like the first person to call me and ask me how I was doing, if I needed anything at the time, and like he's just a great human being. Like he's always kept in touch with me ever since I left Iowa State. Like shoot me a text here or there, or like give me a call, see how I was doing. So it was like awesome to have him in your corner.
Right. Which is crazy to think about how many people he has to keep track of.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
then
Like
on top of that, he has his family too. So I mean, he's busy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so then after the Oklahoma game we're like, okay, we just beat the number 3 team in the country.
Baker Mayfield.
Like but it wasn't like a fluke. Like we hung around and then we just executed at the end and we won.
Yeah.
So then like the national media I remember was like
What the hell?
Iowa State wins as a 31-point underdog. There's like what happened. Like, but if you go back and watch the game, like it was aside from we got like a few calls that went our way, but were pretty big. Like it was not a fluke.
No.
So that leads into the TCU game.
Yep. Up your names.
Which was also insane.
Crazy. It was crazy. I mean, yeah, that was a wild game.
I wish Brian Peavy would have had a pick six and not got tackled
know.
at the 20. But that kid that chasing that was pretty.
Because like the Oklahoma game, like it was an upset, but like looking at the game itself, like it didn't look like the past Iowa State upsets. Like we had to have like crazy things go our way.
Yeah, like the Okie State game where like
fumbles,
everything went our way. They missed like a 30-yard field goal.
Like we beat the Sioux team and they had like 8 turnovers. They took 8 turnovers. We won 9-7.
Yeah.
Like it was not like that at all. We had dudes. We had Hakeem Butler. We had you. We had Shante Jones. One of the best receiving.
Dave Montgomery.
Yeah. That year, I think, is the best receiving core in Iowa State history.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I think there's no doubt.
Some pretty good receivers now too. But yeah, it was crazy. I mean, that TCU game was pretty wild too.
But I feel like that was even more different than the Oklahoma game. Where like you watch that game, I was like, we just were better than TCU.
Yeah, I mean,
TCU's defense was legit.
TCU's
their offense was nothing.
They had it had a good offense. I feel like
it was just a scrappy game.
Yeah, and then it was up here. You know, there's a lot of hype around that game too. I mean, the fans were crazy too.
Yeah, it was loud.
So.
Yeah, our defense
probably
played
like
really
the first time it's been in a while like that. I mean, it was the first time it's been stormed since the Okie State game like that, which is a cool experience.
True. Yeah, I remember my youngest brother found you, took a selfie with you on the field.
Oh man! And then I know there's that picture out there of me and Kemp, which
which is an iconic.
It's iconic, but kind of corny because I hate how he has his arm around me and I'm like he's like staring at the camera. I just feel like a weirdo.
But it's still cool.
I feel like you probably you're like, you know what, Kyle Kemp's gonna have a ton of photos. Like I just need to be near Kyle so I get some cool photos.
It's like I knew I had to either be by Allen or Kyle, to be on any newspaper. So I found Kemp. No.
Well, it was a cool photo of like 2 walk-ons beat 2 ranked top 6 teams.
It was
storm the court. Yeah, man, that was sick.
I mean, Iowa State has a great walk-on tradition too. So shout out to Iowa State.
Right? So sick. So and then the one more game I want to talk about before the bowl game is the K-State game.
The K-State game.
Yep.
What was when they picked up the pass interference flag?
I wish I had my phone on me. I would have Googled what pass interference meant. You know what I mean?
Like, was Campbell freaking out? Like was Allen getting I guess I feel like Allen did a decent job keeping his composure. Was like if it was me, I would have been throwing my helmet into the stands. That was absurd.
I don't know. I feel like what the coaching staff we had, they they instilled us hey, never blame the refs. It's
I know,
things happen
but
for a
come
reason.
on.
So we never really got emotional, with the refs.
It was almost so much. It was almost so dumbfounding that what?
Yeah, I mean, it was wild. We were, everyone there was besides K-State people were like, what just happened, Well,
because the play was either Allen's going to catch it or it's going to be pass interference. Mm-hmm. And then you watch it, you're like, okay.
Clearly pass interference.
The ball hadn't even hit the ground yet, and the flag was already on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there a couple pickup flags?
Yeah.
Around him?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it was tough.
Which I could just feel so bad because that year, we ended 8-5, I think.
Yep.
That game and the Iowa game. That's a 10-win team right there.
9-4. Yeah, 10. Yeah.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's just things didn't go our way, but it was cool. You finally
saw
a
hell of a year.
The tide turned a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Still had a lot of work to do.
A little bit. It turned quickly.
We had 2 top 5 wins.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
not bad. But then the bowl game was so awesome. It was
awesome.
A home game for Memphis. But it was 50-50.
It was 50-50. But the crazy thing is I remember we were walking around the city and they'd be like, "What are you guys here for?" For the Liberty Bowl, and they're like, "Oh, who you playing?" Memphis people didn't even know they were we're playing. They're like, "Hey, good luck. Who you guys playing?" We're like, "Memphis, the Tigers," and they're like, "Oh,
never mind.
Never mind. No Memphis."
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, tough crowd out here.
But they also didn't know they were playing in their own bowl games.
I know
that's crazy.
It was crazy, but I mean, Cyclone fans travel,
dude. That's what I'm saying.
Nuts. And I think the best thing about Cyclone fans, is they try to I feel like it's a competition now. Every bowl game they go to try to drink the city dry.
Oh yeah,
I feel that's a great tradition. Yeah, they do.
me and my buddies drove down on Friday, and there was like a tweet that
Busch Light was freaking dry.
it was gone before we got there.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Iowa State fans, I mean, we don't got much to do up in Iowa
No,
around that time,
those
so we
are-
might
those
as
are
well
our
drive somewhere south.
It
And
was one of the first bowl games we could travel to in like a long time.
I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, since what, 2011 or
Since
12?
the last Memphis game, we went there.
Liberty Bowl against Toledo
Yeah.
or Tulsa.
They played Tulsa twice that season, which is weird, but I don't pick the bowl games.
Yeah, true. But like, yeah, it was a great. I'm so glad we won that game because like you look back, like it was close, especially after the
21
David's
20,
fumble.
right? Which wasn't a fumble.
No, it wasn't.
NCAA.
It was
Watch the
it-
replay. The football is fully crossed.
Yeah.
The playing with him in control of it, NCAA.
Oh my god!
It would have been the first season ever in football history with no fumbles on a team.
It
Ever.
was crazy.
Yeah, and the fumble happened like with 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
I know.
Of the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Now we were sitting in that end zone.
And then like Campbell after the game's like, I'm glad that happened. Like he's just so jacked up
Yeah.
after that.
But I just remember like we won. All the Memphis fans are left, but like none of the Iowa State fans.
No.
left. We were all stood in the stadium, like watched the celebration. It was awesome. I know because at that point you didn't play a ton that game because
No.
did you get dinged up worse in that game?
No, so my foot was just bugging me. So during bowl prep, my foot was bugging me the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
During bowl prep, I was running and I hit a triple on the run. So boom, boom, and I planted on that left foot to go
Mm-hmm.
like on a post, and I felt something like go, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I just rolled my ankle. Like, so when it got spatted, kept bugging me. So then, like at the time, I was like, yo, like I don't know if I can practice right now. So then they just like kind of taped me up, and that whole week of practice, like it was painful to run on my foot. And I was like, you know what? It's my last game. Like, I'm going to try to play. So I played a little bit, got one catch for a first down. And then, like, I remember I went to go block somebody, and, like, he went right around me. So I came to Mouse, and I said, hey, if I keep playing like this, I was like, I might screw this game up for us. I was like, I don't know what to do. So they like, taped my foot back up again, try to, like, have me run on the sideline. I was like, I'll go in one more play. Went in there, I think, and then, like, there was, like, another block, and I was like, yeah. I was like, either I'm going to do something stupid, and, like, they're going to, like, you know, make a tackle or do something, and I won't be, like, effective, so it's 10 versus 11 now. So I just made the decision. Like, I was like, yo, like, I can't play.
Really?
Yeah, so I didn't play the rest of that game.
That's crazy. And then Deshante came in for you.
Yeah, Deshante came in, which, I mean, he balled out. So.
Dude, Deshante. I feel like he's a guy that kind of gets lost in the shuffle, like the history of Iowa State receivers.
No doubt. Like, I still talk to him all the time. Like, great dude. He's a great
good.
football player. I just
Yeah.
wish, like, that someone in the NFL would take a shot on
I
him.
know.
Gosh, he seems like the perfect slot guy. Like he's
Perfect.
smart. Gosh, his freshman year was impressive. Like one of the best
Crazy.
freshman seasons
Yeah,
as a
and
receiver
he's-
ever.
Yeah, and I just feel like, I don't know, you get the Allens, the Hakeems, the Trever Ryans, like,
He just happened to be in that
Yeah.
fold. It's hard, but
Yeah,
he
so
was fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
So, like, season's over, you graduate. I know, obviously, with the injuries, like, had aspirations to then play special teams in the NFL someday,
Yeah.
but then just the ankle didn't
No, so
didn't allow you to.
So originally the doctor said like, hey, like it's gonna heal. Like just give it time. So I'm like, sweet. So I trained for pro day. Didn't do any running. I did the bike, and I mean, Greg Pazinski and Gio Caritas, the two strength coaches, which I work with now, which is awesome. But they're the ones doing the pro day training, and like they obviously like helped me a ton of like, hey, if your foot gets better, like this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. Da, da. So I'm like, obviously I trust them, so I put all my faith in them. And the doctor said it was gonna heal. Well, like I got these like scouts calling me and stuff like that, and they're like, something. I'm not telling them about my foot. I'm like, I'm gonna roll the dice and like hopefully that my foot's good by pro day. And then like I think March like 20th, end of March is like the pro day, or 12th or something like that in March. So it gets closer. We're mid-February, and I'm like, yo, my foot's not feeling any better. Like I try to run and it hurts, and I like try to run routes and I feel like my ankle is gonna pop and stuff like that. So then like I sit down with the doctor up here, and we're just having a conversation. It's not working. So then they send me down to Kansas City. Dude looks at it and he goes, yeah, let's get surgery, da da da. And I'm like, great. So I ended up having surgery, and then like, I had surgery after the pro day. So I had surgery after the pro day, did bench press at freaking pro day, did nothing else. I'm like, great, that's great for a receiver.
How many reps did you do?
13, because I had the hernia surgery prior to that. So I got 13 reps there, and felt like an idiot just standing around at pro day. Like I was like
That sucks.
cheerleader.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucked, you know. And then you have all these scouts come up to you and asking you like, "Oh, you gonna have your own pro day?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, probably not. I have surgery.
Dang.
So yeah, so that's how it all went down. Like it sucked, you know, watching like I watched the draft and you see like obviously no one got picked up from us, which sucks, you know.
Which is crazy.
Like I thought Allen would have definitely got drafted. He should have got drafted.
Yeah, especially watching him today.
Yeah, I'm like he's making a great living now, but yeah, and then yeah, you're just disappointed, you know, when your phone doesn't get a ring, which like in the back of your head you're like, man, I hope somebody takes a chance on me even with this foot, but like like I knew like no one's probably gonna call.
Yeah, so rewind. It's like if it would have just healed without surgery, like I feel like people watching you work out, I think you would have gotten a shot, especially just to go to a camp.
Yeah, I feel like I would have got a decent shot, you know. And the bad thing is like, and then if something did happen there, it's like I probably would just been cut with the foot. But like, yeah, I mean that's always in the back of my head of like, what if? But I've kind of moved on past that now. You know, being in coaching now, I feel like I don't want that to ever happen to a kid that you're coaching. You know what I mean? I want them to be healthy. And like it's kind of inspired my path of like, I want you to play in the NFL. You know, I didn't get the shot, so like I want you to have the best football career, and like hopefully you play in the NFL all the time.
I feel like your personality like fits super well with coaching. Like,
oh, I love it. I love coaching. I love like it's like, well, for one, you like live on a college schedule. You know, you get spring break off, so you get spring break off with the kids and stuff like that. But just like the reward of like working and seeing like the kids like work hard for you and like just making a relationship and knowing like that they can always lean on you for stuff and stuff like that. I think that's what like coaching's all about. Is like just the relationships you have with the kids and not just like the X's and O's or like the 45-pound plates on the ball.
Right. Yeah. So then obviously transitions to coaching. That next year you went to Bowling Green.
Yeah, went to Bowling Green State
as a GA.
As a paid intern.
Paid intern. Okay.
So they're two different things. Paid intern, they could pay you all 12 months. GA, they can only pay you when you're in school. So there's like a gap of like 2 months. So you get paid for 10 months. So they make it a paid intern spot now. So you get paid 12 months. But yeah, lived in Bowling Green, coached there.
What'd you do? What'd you do with coaching there?
I was in this, strength conditioning.
So you right away you were doing the strength side of things.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is, I gotta give a shout out to Coach Hillman. He obviously helped me, pave the way to go to Bowling Green. He knew the guy there.
He was the strength coach at the time at Iowa State.
No, he was player development guy.
Oh yeah.
But he knew the guy at Bowling Green State. Knew there's a spot open, so I talked to him. I want to be a strength conditioning coach. Like, do you know anybody? He's like, yeah, I got this guy at Bowling Green. He'll call you, interview you. So he calls me, interviews me, offers me the spot. So I'm like, awesome, I'll make a decision by the end of the day. So I hit Mouse up, and I was like, yo, let's go get lunch. He's like, awesome. So I tell him, I'm like, hey, I got this spot open. He's like, bro, you got to go. And in my head, like I'm depressed, don't know what to do with my life because like the NFL like didn't give me a shot. So I'm like, man, I don't know what I want to do. I was like, I don't know if I want to leave Ames right now. And Bailey's already in Maryland, so she dipped out, got a job out in the
I forgot about
DC area. So I'm like here by myself, depressed. And then I remember like Coach Campbell saying, no, you're going, like you're gonna go. I'm like, awesome. Coach Campbell made a decision for me. If he thinks it's the right thing, I believe it's the right thing.
I was gonna say it's hard to probably argue with that.
So I pack up my car and freaking dip out to Bowling Green. But yeah, Coach Hillman helped me get that. And so yeah, Bowling Green. When I first got there, I was like literally didn't have a place to live yet. Was like wondering what I was gonna do the night before my first day of work, and I like texted Bailey. And I was like, yo, I'm going to sleep in my car in the parking lot. I ain't got no place to stay. I had no money either, really. And then she's like, I'm going to get you a hotel room. So she bought me a hotel room. Otherwise, I was like, man, I'll just sleep in my car. But then Jeff Myers, the O-line coach here, he hooked me up with like a family friend out there. So I got to live with them until I found a place. So it was awesome. They're great people. Gave me a place to stay. And they had like a sweet little like pond thing. Told me I could like swim out there anytime and stuff like that. It was awesome. And like they went on vacation, so they had me like babysit their dog, live out there. Like they like made me food. So it was like crazy. It was like a family. It was awesome. Wild. They like showed me around the area, like Bowling Green. They showed me like around, I think it's called Maumee out there or something like that. Like it's a big river. Stuff like that. So it was awesome. Like it made me feel like I was at home again.
Which like such a whirlwind of like that the football season you went through to deal with injuries, to like not knowing what you're doing, to like now you're living in some family's house in Bowling Green, like.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
like,
such a, and like with Bailey living on the East Coast, like that's such like a wild. I feel like, but like the coaching world is kind of like that. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like
coaching's
every
wild.
coach's story is like they're sleeping on some park bench, and then eventually it works out.
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, like, and then I finally found a place, to live, and I was making like $700 a month, and my rent was like 500 and some. So like I had like $100 worth of groceries, but it's cheap to live out there in Bowling Green. I mean, I gained a bunch of weight, weighed like 230 when I came back for spring break. But I obviously wasn't running because my foot. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Holy crap. It's okay. And then the AAF calls.
No, so the football strength coach at Bowling Green at the time got the job down in Birmingham and was like, hey, you want to come down there and be like my assistant? You'll make this much. And like not knowing, like I should have like probably reached out to like Hillman and Campbell and just asked like what they would have done, because I think personally I should have stayed at Bowling Green because I mean AFS that kind of fell through. Mm-hmm. But I was an idiot and I was like, man, like $700 to like I don't remember how much I made there, but I'm like big difference more. And I'm like I could definitely use the money. So I was like obviously money driven right there, which I regret to this day. I should have stayed at Bowling Green, but obviously you can't go back in time. Everything works out.
I was gonna say it worked out all right, I think.
So I went down there. I was down in Birmingham, Alabama. Not for long because the league fell through. But the crazy thing is I would help with punt return, and like the coach that did special teams, he coached at the Giants for a little bit and stuff like that. I can't remember his name, but he was like, hey, like because the punt returner like got hurt, and they had this other kid, and they're like, hey, if this kid goes down, like we'll sign you for a game. And like you can just return punts for us. I'm like, sweet, I'm cool with it. Like I don't have to run. I can just fair catch it and get paid. Because they made like $7,000 a game. So I'm like, oh my god, like
holy crap.
I'm like, where did I go wrong? I should have played in the AAF instead of like trying to be a strength coach. I should have just kept trying to play. But yeah, I was like, sweet, yeah, just let me know if you need me. I'll definitely sign it for a game. But then it fell through, and then I was like, great. So I was out of job now, and so I hit up Hillman again. I'm like, hey, man, I screwed up. Should have stayed at Bowling Green. I was like, can you help me? Do you know anybody that's, like, looking for, like, a low guy on the totem pole spot or a GA spot? And I'm, like, looking everywhere for a GA spot, too. And I applied to Eastern Michigan. Had an interview with them.
Okay.
And then Hillman was like, hey, my guy at Pitt is going to call you and answer it. So I'm like, cool, which is, Dave Andrews, Coach Andrews. Calls me, we just chatted up. He's like, hey, we'll interview you too. So I'm like, sweet. Like, I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. I don't care like which one works out. I just want to be somewhere like I know I'm going to be. And then so I interview, do well with the Eastern Michigan one, talk to like the assistant and the head guy. And they call me back. They're like, hey, like, we know you're interviewing for a low guy on the totem pole spot. Like, if you get that, like, cool, but just let us know ASAP so we can move on. I'm like, awesome. I'm going out there for an interview the next couple of days. I'll let you know. Go out there, interview with the Pitt staff, Dave, Fred, Strap out there. It goes really well. And Hillman, obviously had a great influence on that too. Helped me out with that connection. He takes me back to the airport. I call Hillman. I'm like, man, I feel like I did really good. And he's like, man, I heard you did really good. I'm like, oh, sweet. I was like, I pray to God I get it.
Yeah.
And ends up, he calls me later and it was like, offered me the job, I think, a couple of days later, which was awesome. So then I, hit up Eastern Michigan. I'm like, hey, guys, really appreciate everything, Was out at Pitt for about a year, and then I'm here.
That's such a...
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect
Ames, Bowling Green, Birmingham, Pittsburgh, and now back at your alma mater, coaching.
So Campbell, I don't know, he let go, the old guy, I'm not sure who he was, and then Dave Andrews got hired here. How pumped were you? Like, I'm going back to Ames.
Man, Pittsburgh might be one of my favorite cities. Just living out there for a short time, I did, but it's a nice city. I recommend anyone going out there. It was a fun atmosphere out there and stuff like that. But like once he told me like, hey, like I took the job at Iowa State and stuff like that, I was like cut me open. I bleed Cardinal and gold. I can't wait to go back, you know. But I mean, it was hard too at the same time because like, you know, like you spend a whole season out there and a whole summer with like kids at the University of Pitt, and it was like you built a relationship and like you wanted to be out there to see how like their whole college career was going. So that was kind of tough leaving there, but I was pretty pumped to like come back and like work under Campbell and then like, obviously still work under Dave.
So like you first walked in the facility, you were like, let's go.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is like,
what was that like?
Yeah.
So like, so my wife was like, I don't want to stay out here alone. Like, we gotta get a U-Haul. So I'm like, I got 2 days left until we leave. She's like, whatever, let's get a U-Haul. So I'm like, sweet. So I went and got a U-Haul that day, and I was like packing everything. And then I got my guy Austin Atkinson Strap. He was a strength coach there at Pitt with me, and I was like, yo, can you come over and help me pack? Like, and he's like, yeah, man, I got you. So he comes over. We like load this U-Haul up like to the brim, and he's like, he told me, he's like, I used to do this, like I used to pack. I'm like, sweet, dude. I don't know how we fit our whole like place in here, but we did. Hooked the car up. Slept on an air mattress in our old place. Next day we take off. We're driving, leaving Pittsburgh, and we're like at Indiana. It's like getting misty and it's getting colder as we go towards Iowa. Bailey calls me and she goes, "Hey, are you gonna pull over? Like, are we gonna stay somewhere?" And I said, "No, I plan on making it back to Iowa tonight." She goes, "I can't." I'm like, because she has the dogs too, and I'm like, "For real? I'm like, you can't?" And she's like, "No, I can't." So I'm like, "Well, I guess we'll just stay." Like, I plan on making it back in one trip. But then, you know, we stop, we stay, we get back on the road the next day. And Dave was like, "Hey, text me when you get to Ames. Like, I know the coaches want to see you." So I'm like, sweet, I got this big U-Haul. Still nowhere to, like, we had, like, one more day until we could move into our place in Ames. So I had this freaking U-Haul and driving it around and with Bailey's car. But we got in our place a day early because we were like, "Hey, we just got here. Like, help us out."
Right.
That's a funny story I'll tell you after this. But so I pulled the U-Haul into the commuter lot, and I'm like like, you know, like where University is right here.
Right.
I park way over here because there's the most space.
By University?
By University. So it's like cold out, and I only have a sweatshirt, so I'm like running into the facility because it's classes are still going on, so everything's like packed.
Oh.
And I get there and like I go to the weight room obviously first and everything, and I'm like, "Oh my!" He's like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "Man, I feel like I freaking just won the lottery."
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
And then we went upstairs, you know, met with Coach Campbell and stuff like that. I just walked down the hallway, met with all the coaches since they were all been there since I've been there. But it was like a freaking reunion. But it was crazy. It was crazy because at Birmingham, I remember like Campbell like saying like, "Hey man, like just stick it out. Like, you know, one of these days we'll work together again. We'll be together again." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You're out of your mind. That's ain't how it works." But yeah, it was crazy. So then, you know, we move into our apartment. Didn't unload the U-Haul yet because like you get like so much money to like move. And so I got a U-Haul. So I'm like, let's pay people to just unpack this for us. So it like wouldn't happen and a snowstorm hit. So we take the U-Haul and we take it out to our sister's house over in Luther, Iowa, kind of by Boone.
Yeah.
And so the U-Haul's out there, and we have everything in my car. We unpack everything. We take the air mattress out. And the snowstorm just happened to happen. It's like negative 20 out. And she's like, "Where's the thing to blow the air mattress up?" And I'm like, looking for it. I'm like, it's in the U-Haul. So we slept like on the floor. On the air mattress that wasn't even pumped up for like the first night.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so it sucked. That's the funny story about moving
hilarious.
in. Yeah, so about slept in my car, and then I had to sleep on the floor. So
But you were home.
was home. Definitely was home. Felt like home. Gosh. It was awesome. Then COVID hit. And took the fun out of the crowds for the games, but it's awesome being back, you know. I mean, I know in my recruiting spiel, I tell people I bleed Cardinal and gold. I'm a freaking proud alum, you know what I mean? You guys can attest to that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's awesome being back.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's
not many coaches get to coach at their freaking alma mater, so
especially like
fortunate.
This young in your coaching career.
No
like, just like
doubt.
the way the dice fell, like you ended up with Coach Andrews, and like that's just the guy that Campbell hires.
I know,
like,
you know.
I don't know. It's like
Just
it's meant to be.
grateful.
So I mean, like I don't know. I feel like this year's there's something meant to be about this year. So it's gonna be
Hopefully.
So like what was the biggest? Did you came back and then was there been any difference between now and when you were playing, or is it the same culture? Just
I think
What do you think?
I think it's a stronger culture now. I feel like, the things that Coach Campbell has done here, and then on top of that with Coach Andrews here, it might be the same culture, but I think it's a stronger culture, just based on like how the kids go about their business and stuff like that.
Awesome. So like COVID happens, you get here, COVID happens.
Yep.
So like, how do you do your job when the players are at home? How would that work? Like,
as a strength coach.
Yeah, as a strength coach.
Are you like leading Zumba classes or?
Yeah. Send them discs.
No, like it's just like when they go on spring break, you give them a workout.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Were they allowed to go in the facility though?
No one.
So where were they lift? Like, could they lift?
They all went practically home.
Oh.
Or like if guys stayed here, like they got equipment, somehow, or like they had it at their place. Like
some dumbbells or stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Just like random stuff that you just like have. Like I have like 2 kettlebells in a bar.
Okay.
At my house. So like we obviously like reached out to the kids like, hey, what do you have? So we can make this like workout. And so you just kind of make body weight stuff happen.
Okay.
Send them the workout, and then we just kept in contact with them. Call them, ask how they're doing. If they had questions, they could call us. So it wasn't like it was tough because obviously you wish you could be in a facility, you wish they could work out in a facility, but at the same time it wasn't that bad either for us. And like you could obviously steal ideas from people on Twitter. The strength coaches, obviously just posted their stuff, what they're doing. So it's like, okay, that's what you're doing. Sweet, we could add that.
Gotcha.
Obviously, like teams strived into COVID and some didn't. Why did Iowa State strive? It feels like we did, or did we not?
I feel like I feel like we did. Obviously, we had the best season in Iowa State history.
Yeah.
I just feel like the same thing goes down to like every single season is like culture.
Yeah.
Like our culture is really strong. Our kids
everyone's bought in.
Yeah, everyone's bought into the program. Everyone's bought into Coach Campbell and his message, and like they didn't go out and screw up with COVID around. Like, just like all our kids had one mindset. That's a great thing about being at Iowa State.
Right.
Obviously because I know Coach Campbell.
But it's harder to like control the culture when they're at their home, and it's not like they're all coming to the same facility. Like you're all basically on your own. Like
and
their own. You have to have their own discipline, and you guys did that remotely.
That's the thing too. But it's like the same thing is like if you don't do it, like we'll know when you get back. Like whenever that time comes to when you come back, like we know you. We'll know the people that didn't do stuff or that did stuff.
Yeah.
And were there some players that kind of stepped up to kind of also like lead the charge as far as checking in, kind of similar to what David and Brian did for you guys? Like as far as like was Brock making sure like his guys were working out, or do you know as far as
you got guys that like live together.
Okay.
So I feel like they would all work out together, especially with like COVID, because it kind of sucked because like you didn't want those guys to go like just in case someone positive, you don't want someone to go mingle with like another house. But I mean like you can't stop that from happening. You're at the COVID.
Right.
piece.
Yeah. Exactly.
But like guys, would work out with each other, so it was like they still get that good atmosphere. It's not
Okay.
like
So kind of like there's like just small groups where they just all held each other accountable. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, we're gonna look back 10 years from now, like at this time, it's just gonna be. We'll be laughing because like we'll obviously know a lot more about this, but also just like how crazy it was. Like it happened so fast. There was no precedent to like how we're supposed to handle it. And thankfully our kids bought in, like, and Iowa State football was their priority, and obviously the results showed. So like,
that's what's great about it. Yep.
But like now, thankfully, like we get a spring ball, we get a summer workout plan. Like
we get our strength coaches in person.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. We start summer workouts pretty soon. And I think it's the best time in college football as a summer as a player and as a coach. Because it's like more time with the strength staff than with the coaches, because you just train and work out. But then as a player too, is like you have maybe 1 or 2 classes, and it's like the rest of the time is spending time with your guys and like training hard.
Right.
Like, I think it's the best time.
Yeah.
But besides the season, because the season's obviously fun, you get to play football. But
like
I think
this, like all the work put in now, like just you reap the rewards during the season.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so I guess just from the fans' perspective, from your guys, the strength staff's perspective, give us like a name or two of a young kid that's been like coming in, busting his ass, and has really impressed you guys that might contribute more than what we think as fans. 'Cause, I mean, as fans, like you look at our roster, 20 of 22 starters coming back.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like you looked at the depth chart, it's like, okay, what young guy's going to beat out Greg Eisworth or like,
Yeah.
like I feel like our starters are pretty well established, but like give us some names that like just look for maybe like on special teams, like they've been really, really impressing you guys.
I'd say like a Kendall Jackson. I feel like he's a guy that might be like busted on special teams because I love special teams.
Okay.
He's a walk on, so they got
Okay.
a place in my heart for walk ons.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like look out for his name.
Okay. That's awesome. And what's your opinion of Rory Walling?
I mean, he's the OG of the special teams. You know what I mean? Like he's the original like type of dude you want on special teams. Like doesn't really care about offense or defense, just strictly business on special teams.
Dude, I
you know what
love
mean?
it. They just tackled the fake punting against Texas was
Yeah,
Gosh,
I mean he's
legendary.
the king of Des Moines.
He's
Runs
the
that
king.
city. I don't think Kim Reynolds should be the governor of Iowa. I think
Should be
Roy
Roy
Wallen should be.
Yeah.
He runs that whole.
His parents are so active on Twitter.
Oh,
too.
yeah, I love his parents.
They love it.
I need to meet him sometime just because he's a big special teams guy.
Yeah.
I'd love to meet his parents. But yeah, Roy Wallen's definitely a special teams guy. Like Coach Yale said, if there's a Heisman, it should go to Roy
Right, no, I
Wallen
agree.
for special teams.
Yeah, I think it'd be sick. Like, we're not going to dive into like the whole like image and likeness thing with players, but I think a Rory Walling jersey would sell out quick because I
No
think
doubt.
I think
Or
he's
like Heisman, like special team Heisman. Thing.
Yeah,
like
no,
there's something creative like
yeah,
that.
he's a fan favorite. And like I think we didn't really know his name until like last year, and like I think now like
It was
every
the-
special team's like you're just be watching what number 6 is doing.
Oh, no
It
doubt.
was the tackle versus Texas, and then the recovery in Oregon.
Yeah.
I always forget the Oregon one. I don't know why, but the Texas one,
Stands
just
out because it's like
stands out.
Oh,
discipline, and one team had discipline, one team didn't.
Yep.
And who won?
You see what
Oh
happened.
man, old Rory Wallen, baby.
Yeah, that's awesome. One other question I had was when you were playing, what was like when you like really bought into being a receiver? What was like a pro guy or like just a former player that you could like you looked up to, like you try to like?
So a guy that I used to watch. So me and Mouse, like we had a whole week like figured out. Like Monday, I'd come in and we'd watch the game from Saturday, Tuesday or Wednesday. I think I'd do like the jugs machine.
Okay.
Dropped the ball against K-State, wide open touchdown, changed my life forever. Never was gonna drop another ball again after that. So Mouse got me right on the jugs. He's like the whiteout whisperer. And then after that, we'd like watch film on like NFL guys and see like what they do, put them in our concepts and stuff like that. And like one guy that I like loved to watch was Doug Baldwin Jr. out in Seattle. So like he's like probably like one of my favorite players to like watch and like see what he does and mold it kind of after him. And then like, I'd watch Julian Edelman for the Patriots, so like I'd watch him. But yeah, Doug Baldwin is like my favorite guy to watch, just because he's like, well, for one, he went undrafted, so I like his whole story.
Oh, did he really? I didn't
believe
know
he
that.
went undrafted. I can't remember if he went to UCLA or I think UCLA.
Okay.
He went undrafted, and then Seattle picks him up. He becomes like the best receiver for Seattle at the time, and just the way he goes about himself, I like that.
That's awesome.
And I like how he plays the game of football too.
That's awesome. And then one other question. I remember in college you were like always bragging about how fast you were. I would make fun of you. You're like, let's go race. Like, what's your 100 time? When you were playing, how many players were faster than you on the team?
I was definitely top 5 fastest.
Were you
on the
really?
team. I would put money on it.
Really?
Kenny DeWong.
Yeah.
Was Kenny on the same team as you?
Yeah, Kanena Wangu.
Was he faster than you?
Definitely faster than me.
Oh, dude.
I would
I mean, you're in
say.
a sub 4.3, so
Yeah, he's definitely
He
fast. He ran like a
flies.
10.3 in high school, so like he's
Oh.
legit fast. Yeah.
My goodness.
Jamal Wiltz, definitely.
you play for the Dolphins.
Yeah, if he watches this, I'm obviously good friends with Jamal. I used to say that I was faster than him. He would always give me crap because he did catch me during spring ball one year. But yeah, he's probably faster than me. Definitely he isn't. He is faster than me. Trying to think who else on the team would give me.
DeShante.
No, I'd beat him.
Really? Dang.
I mean, come on, guys. I ran track.
Yeah, I guess you're
That's
right.
true.
Or like the Oregon pipeline, Iowa State, just getting track people.
That's true.
It's a great pipeline.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. I'd say number 3.
Really?
I'd put money on it.
I remember David got interviewed. They asked you about him.
He's the fastest white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely fastest white guy on Iowa State's football team. But yeah, I definitely want to get that quote framed sometime.
Yeah,
Of
That'd be
David.
sick.
Yeah,
That would
because
be
that was
awesome.
an awesome quote.
yeah. And then, so say you played today, Trever Ryan's 22. how many players are you faster than on this roster?
I don't know about that. That's hard.
Or are we faster now than when you were playing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if Kane came back, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe top 10 then.
Okay.
I mean,
Who's the fastest guy on our team right now? Top 3.
I don't know.
make it
That's
easier.
hard. I mean, because like I feel like based on everybody I see, like right now, I'm like, dang, he's pretty fast.
Right.
So, like, dang, he's fast.
Like there's no like the sprints. Who's winning sprints? Or
Mm,
like do you not base it on that?
no, I don't know. Like based on watching people play, I mean,
Is Brees top 3?
yeah, he's fast.
He's
I mean, you can
big-
watch him run in the game.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like the Okie State game when he broke that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fast. I mean,
Yeah.
Xavier Hutchinson's pretty fast. Oklahoma, he broke that one on the slam.
Yeah.
He's gone. I mean, you got
Isn't Will McDonald pretty fast?
yeah, I mean, he's fast for what he plays.
Yeah.
Tyreek Milton, he's
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
fast.
true.
Yeah.
Is he faster than you?
Back when I played, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I was
He'd
gonna
have
say,
to- he'd
I
have
feel
to
like
go
you
down.
have a hard time actually admitting that someone's faster.
Yeah, I would just say Jamal and can have
For
that
sure.
faster than me.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, Jamal, he ran track with me here
Oh,
at
did
Iowa
he?
State.
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
We had a 4x1. He ran the 60, and he had a faster 60 meters time than me, but I would beat him in the 200-meter dash.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he would beat me in the 100, 60, give him the 2-4, I'm gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, the 200 and 400 doesn't really matter when you're a
Right.
football player.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, be
You being the strength coach, is there one player who's like the strongest player by far, or like is it pretty close?
yeah. So that's a good question. So I think like just strongest player, and then pound for pound, who's strongest?
Well, I don't feel like I can't talk about this stuff. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
okay, so-
yeah, we'll
When
move
when
on
you,
to
when
that.
you were playing, because I remember I would ask you when you were playing, you said Brian Peavy was pound for pound the strongest.
No,
player
he's
on the team.
definitely a pound strongest guy on the team. When I played, Brian Peavy, hands down.
Like what about like so what like lists were was he like
He
just
could like
balling
bench
out
like
on?
385, and he like weighed like a $180. Yeah, it was incredible. I was like, what?
Dang.
What?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But like the freakiest thing I've seen was, Oni. You remember him?
Yeah.
Offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He like squatted like 780. He was ridiculous. Like just went up and down with it. Like the bar was like full of weights, and I was like, what the hell?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
He was strong. He was definitely strong.
That's crazy. And then Brian Larson will try up there too.
Yeah, Brian Larson pretty strong. He squatted over 500. So
Did he really?
yeah, I mean he was a tank.
He was. He's skinny now.
Yeah, I remember like story in the weight room was like max out day. It was like my first summer at Iowa State, and I had like Levi Peters in my rack.
Levi Pierce. He's from
Yeah,
our
he's
from
right
our,
from
our-
our hometown.
And I remember he's just a crazy dude to begin with, and I remember like he obviously knew me because like his dad knows my dad. 'Cause
Oh,
my
really?
dad's, like from like the Pocahontas
Oh, yeah,
rock
yeah.
area. And so like he kind of took me under his wing, and I was like in his racks. And I remember forget like we're loading up 45s on the rack, and like he like bit the 45. He's like "Arr," on the rack, and I was like, this dude's a crazy man.
Yeah.
Crazy dude. And he was like biting, like he like took the ball and like, hit his head with it before he got under it and stuff like that. I was like, this is guy, man.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
No,
If there's a special teams Hall of Fame,
he would be
he'd
in
be
it.
in it.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
him,
Him
Rory.
with the American flag shaving his head.
Oh my!
Yeah.
In West Virginia, that's the game you were thinking of.
Yeah. We did the double egg on the kickoff. He for a story from his high school, he was an incredible baseball player.
I've heard.
Like,
Was he a good wrestler too?
Good
Yeah.
wrestler too. He was a
Yeah.
state champ wrestler, but then also he threw like 95. And he had like scouts calling him about playing catcher.
Dang, he should have just went baseball route.
Yeah,
made
he
a
was
bunch of
a
money.
really good baseball player.
Man, baseball has some crazy money in it.
He played 8-man football too.
Yeah, I forgot. What?
TRV, Twin River Valley.
Yeah, is that even a still school?
No,
anymore?
it closed. They joined Humboldt's. That's what my
where-
wife went to that school.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where
Holy crap!
Dallas Clark went.
Yeah,
I forgot. Oh my god,
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
Can you expose anything? Are we getting a like classic uniforms coming this year or no?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
That's above your
There's
pay
like-
grade.
I work in the
So,
weight
like-
room.
Yeah.
Like there was like a wallpaper that was like a throwback wallpaper, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we're getting throwback uniforms this year."
I don't know. I want to bring back the was it Gene Chiswick's year?
When we
cyclone?
beat Iowa. When we beat Iowa.
Let me pull the logo up. This is what I wanted to bring back when I played, but
Were they the white uniforms we wore against Iowa?
no.
Oh no, I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
Let's see. Maybe it was here.
Not the bugle.
This one.
That one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
I
love-
wish
I
just
love
one
that.
game, you know.
Yeah, I love that logo.
Yeah, like
Um,
that's one thing about Iowa State. Like I wish Cy was more involved a little bit, but
you get the I-State logo,
yeah.
which is cool, but
But like what Campbell's redoing, like the black people are complaining about the black uniforms.
Nah.
Like we need to set a new tradition, and I feel like the black uniforms, like looking back, like oh, if you look at red, or like we don't really think of a winning,
mm-hmm.
but like the Campbell's
You
kind of
already- I mean-
rebranded Iowa State.
Only lost one game in the black uniform.
I
so.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and like as a player too. I know I said this to you guys earlier. Like, I wish I could have
Right.
played in the black uniforms. Those things are sweet. Like,
Yeah.
Do the players like asking for the black uniforms? Are those their favorites too?
I mean, yeah, they love them. That's probably why we wore them a bunch
Yeah.
this past season. And like, it's like it's just nice to see something new.
yeah,
Like,
I agree.
I mean, it'd be nice to wear Cardinal and gold. But like watching those black uniforms, it's like
Especially if we keep winning in them. Like
Yeah.
we're one drive away.
I
against
know, it's
Oklahoma.
not
To be honest.
like-
yeah, exactly.
yeah. I mean,
We're one drive away from Oklahoma game to be still undefeated in them. So
It's true.
it's hard to complain.
tough. It's nice.
We
I love
don't
this
like
year.
as Iowa State fans. We're just searching for things to complain about now. Like, come on.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Like when Campbell first got here, like the first thing, like one of the first things Campbell's talked about was like, what's the theme song coming in when you're walking in, and what are our uniforms gonna look
Yeah,
like?
that's true.
Now it's like that's like 200th on the
Yeah,
list.
we got
Man,
some bigger things to worry about. Like
Well,
winning a Big 12 title this year.
I hope.
all right. Well, we appreciate it, Trevor.
Yeah, really. Thanks for coming on.
This
This
is
has been
awesome.
a ton of fun. I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's good
No
to catch
doubt.
up. But it's also just kind of it's really cool to hear from someone that kind of lived through the Campbell rebuilding, just like
Oh,
who
yeah.
saw the tide turn and like now is a contributor on the staff. And
Oh, no doubt.
Literally seeing the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
yeah,
And
it's gonna be. I'm excited to see what you guys do this year, and hopefully we'll have a full Jack Trice and
I hope so too. I told these guys that came with me that's never seen like a Jack Trice that are full, and I said these fans are crazy now. Like,
especially,
when you-
especially after having this year where we couldn't
Oh,
go,
yeah.
it's gonna be nuts.
I was like, the tailgating is gonna be ridiculous. I was like, the fans are crazy here. Fans are awesome here, and they love Busch Light. So
Yep, that's true.
it's gonna be a party every Saturday in Jack Trice.
Yeah, I look forward to finding you after the Iowa game when we beat them by 30. And
yeah.
Can't wait.
yeah,
All right. Well,
all right, cool.
appreciate it.
Go Clones.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys.